Journalism is really all I've ever wanted to do. When I was a little boy, I dressed up as a reporter for Halloween. To go from that little boy with a paper microphone and a hat to sitting in a control room, and now to be in a position to lead those two newsrooms into the future is incredibly exciting. I'm James Lewis, and we are media production leaders. So I got my start at a radio station in Vancouver in 2010. So in the grand scheme of things, not all too long ago. But even in that span, I have witnessed so much change in terms of what an audience is expecting and what an outlet should be providing, in my opinion. The radio station I worked at was a sort of full-service news talk station. I was a reporter and anchor. And the approach was sort of, we were the gatekeeper of information almost. And that's the way that people consumed their news, even as recently as 2010. Now, in 2024, it's completely different. It's what is your point of difference? What is somebody going to get from you that they can't get anywhere else? And as a leader and as somebody who is running newsrooms, that is what I'm trying to impart to all of our team members. What's going to set us apart from everybody else? So in my current role as executive producer for CTV News Toronto and CP24, we are hyper-focusing on the audience and the area that we serve. At CTV News Toronto, we are all about contextual, in-depth local storytelling, again, with a clear focus on the issues that matter to the audience where our viewers live. CP24, it's the same thing. It's what Toronto is talking about. It's what's affecting your family, your health, your safety, and your pocketbook. You know, at Bell Media, the company that I work for, we have an incredible portfolio of different stations. CTV News Channel covering the stories that matter to Canadians across the country and around the world. B&M Bloomberg, which is the market leader for business news. But when it comes to local news, CTV Toronto and CP24, it's what's affecting you down the street and what's affecting you the second you leave your door in the morning. You know, one of the key responsibilities as a leader when you're trying to, create change and come up with goals for your team is getting them on board and making sure everybody feels like it's, a collaboration. And one of the key factors that I have found to be successful is sharing results. Everybody likes to see a payoff at the end of the day. So whether it's sharing analytics, metrics, ratings, pure data, or even if it's something as simple as I got an email from a viewer who appreciated the way that we covered a story, and then you shared that with the team, people know that their work is having an impact and what they're doing is making a difference. And really having that immediate response to what we're doing, I find really helps with, again, the collaboration component, but also the buy-in factor. So we're in an age now where team collaboration is more critical than ever before. And as a leader, collaboration is a two-way street. You cannot be afraid to answer questions from team members, to receive feedback from them. It's not a top-down approach, it is much more collective. And even just the physical idea of collaboration has changed so much in the last few years. We have video journalists who are trained and equipped to work completely independently in the field, and really there's no reason for them to be coming into the newsroom on a daily basis. So how do you keep them engaged and how do you keep them on track with the message and the goals that you're trying to outline? And really it can be as simple as just making time and making space for those one-on-one conversations and always asking if they have any questions. The other thing, and it might sound obvious, but I always need to remind myself sometimes, is adding context around the decisions you make and sharing that context with team members. I find it to be incredibly important to maintain a sense of calm, transparency, but also honesty with your team members and keep them focused on the things that we can control, because ultimately that's the only thing that's in our power. Unique storytelling, content that's going to captivate as many audience members as possible, and we go from there. CTV News Toronto and CP24 are unique in the marketplace and unique in the media landscape, because they are two members of the same family that are covering the same region independently, but also incredibly close. So creating synergies is something that we've been working toward for years. The North Star is a seamless flow of communication and information between everybody. It's easier said than done. We are making improvements with it every single day, and being within the same physical space is going to heighten that dramatically. So as a leader, you're always trying to have an open line of communication and dialogue with all of your team members, knowing that there's a level of trust that they can come to you with any questions and however they're feeling. From an editorial perspective, we are cognizant of that sometimes when it comes to even the assignment process. If we have a journalist who's been covering a particularly heavy story for a long time, and we are aware that that could be weighing on them for one reason or another, changing it up from time to time and having those discussions, just making sure, hey, are you okay covering this? Would you like to be doing something else? Is there something that we can do to support and something to help? As much as I work for CTV, the TV is the least important part of that these days, right? It is truly multi-platform. And when it comes to our story selection and how we present those stories, we are incredibly strategic about how we roll it out. Often, the audience no longer seeks us out anymore. We need to find them on whatever platform they are on, and how can we provide our content in the simplest of fashions to them. If we have an exclusive, investigative, enterprising story that we know is going to connect with an audience, maybe it's as simple as it is published for the first time on our website in the morning. That reporter then goes on our various Bell Media radio stations over the course of the day to talk about it. They go on our specialty channels like CTV News Channel or BNN Bloomberg. The produced television piece airs later in the day, and obviously it's spreading across social media in the hours since it was first published on the website. And so you're hitting every single platform that we have at our disposal. And so that really changes our approach and our tactic when it comes to the assignment process, when it comes to picking the stories that we're going to cover, stepping back from the gatekeeper mentality and really asking ourselves, instead of, is this a story we should be covering? Is it a story people actually care about? So looking toward the idea of revenue generation in news, it's going to be up to the audience, eventually, the customer, to decide what product they are prepared to pay for. And so how do you make that product as alluring as possible? You've seen multiple outlets around the world experiment with different tactics. Whether it's doubling down on sort of inside baseball, insider knowledge that you're not going to get from anywhere else, and a core audience, a niche audience is prepared to pay for that. Whether it's doubling down on big personalities, those faces, those names, those voices that people know and are willing to throw a few bucks at every month. Those are all approaches that have been tried and are being tried, some with success. Others as spectacular failures. But at the end of the day, the marketplace will decide. So those who know me, those who have worked with me, know that I'm slightly obsessed when it comes to my writing style for broadcast with alliteration. And so I'm not going to waste this opportunity to include a little bit of alliteration in what I think are the absolute key factors that a successful leader needs to have. And let's call them the 3 R's. You need to be resourceful, you need to be responsive, and you need to be resilient. Resourceful in terms of knowing what your team needs, knowing the resources that you have at your disposal, and how you can use those to tell stories in the most effective way. Responsive, navigating change, anticipating it, embracing for it, and having a reaction plan right away. And we all need to have a certain level of resiliency, right? The change is nonstop right now. Knowing that perhaps your plan A, your plan B, your plan C, you need to pivot almost all the time, and not letting that get you down, not letting that demoralize you, not letting that demoralize your team, and just knowing that navigating change is a constant right now. I have been a witness to so much history from what I think is the most adrenaline fueled and energetic position, sitting in a control room, taking shows to air when the Toronto Raptors won the NBA championship and the ensuing victory parade, countless elections, the death of Queen Elizabeth II. These are moments that all of us remember where we were when we heard the news, when we saw the news, and to know that I was the person indirectly delivering that to an audience is amazing to me.